Happy Labor Day. When we were trying to figure out where we could be, we all said, let's go to Cleveland. And I want to thank Congresswoman Marcia Fudge for hosting us. I've been talking so... Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic. Boy, we have 63 days to go. Well, thank you. Whoa. Well, you just heard the next vice president, didn't you? In addition to thanking Marcia Fudge, also thank your great Senator Sherrod Brown. Also, excuse me. Also, two other great members of Congress, Tim Ryan and Joyce Beatty. And your mayor, thanks to Mayor Jackson. And I hope that Ohio will send Ted Strickland to the Senate. Now, behind me are some of the great labor leaders of our country. Randy Weingarten, Lee Saunders, Rich Trumka. I'm proud to be on the same stage with them because they're always fighting for working families. Now, once I get over my allergic reaction, let me say that we're here in part because we know how important this election is to Ohio. It's not just, as Tim said, that Ohio is one of those battleground states you hear about every 4 years. It's that Ohio represents everything that's great about America and all of the challenges and the opportunities that we face.
That people around the world are taking from that. So the fact that our intelligence services are now viewing Russian activity as a potential threat against our electoral system raises further questions about Trump, and I think those are questions the American people should be asking and answering.
Madam Secretary, the FBI report cited several instances, more than 9, where you could not recall key facts about the classification system, about how you were trained when you went in, about what you did when you left office on archiving. Does that, to critics, indicate a casual attitude towards classification and towards the way secrets were kept and protected when you were Secretary of State?
No, not at all, Andrea. You know, I went into the State Department understanding classification. I'd been on the Senate Armed Services Committee for years before I was Secretary of State. I take classification seriously. The fact I couldn't remember certain meetings, whether or not they had occurred, doesn't in any way affect the commitment that I had and still have to the treatment of classified material.
Why don't we go in the back to Jennifer?
Would you consider this cyber espionage or cyber war, Russian actions? And if you were president, would you meet with Putin? And to follow up on Andrea's question, your aides used a method called lozenge to get rid of your emails 23 days after the New York Times reported that you had a private email server. Why did they do that? And does that contribute to people's suspicions about your email server?
I don't know anything about that. That was not something that I was aware of, and I think that the facts point out that there was no connection. It wasn't something that, as far as I understand, that was related. With respect to the first question, I am not comfortable using the word war. I don't want to use that. I think that's the kind of loose talk that we have had too much of in this campaign. I do view it as a threat from an adversarial foreign power. And I believe that Putin and the team around him certainly believe that there is some benefit to them for doing this. As Tim Kaine said yesterday, this is like Watergate, only now in cyber time. You know, breaking into the Democratic National Committee, either physically or into electronic files to withdraw information to be used for political purposes. It is stunning that we are facing this, and especially from a foreign power that has the capacity, which the consensus is they have used, to extract information and to enable that information to be made public. This goes into, as I was saying to Ken earlier, into the broader discussion about cyber. We had some very tough conversations about cyber when I was Secretary of State. I know those conversations have continued. I know that the President raises them in every meeting that he has. I think it's fair to say that as we saw from both Democratic and Republican presidents during the Cold War, we do keep talking to our adversaries. When I was Secretary of State, we negotiated a new treaty to reduce nuclear weapons and introduced the most invasive surveillance system we've ever had with respect to the Russians. So I think we have to continue to look for ways that we can work with Putin, but to make it very clear to him that we are not going to tolerate the kinds of behavior that Russian intelligence has engaged in and that my opponent has applauded.
We're going to go to Dan right here.
Hey, Dan.
Vice President Biden said recently that by January, Obama will close Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you win as November, will you be able to close Guantanamo Bay and succeed where Obama failed?
Well, it's been a goal of President Obama from the very beginning of his administration, and it should remain the goal of the next president. Guantanamo Bay, as I think we all recognize, became a symbol of a lot of the problems that were started under the Bush administration and which have not served us well in terms of relations around the world. So I would like to see it closed. There are, as you know, legislative blockade problems with that, but we should keep trying to close it. What?
How do you get through that?
Well, let's wait and see what the president's able to accomplish before I discuss it. Hi.
Just a little about the Russia issue. Are you saying that they're trying to help elect Donald Trump president? And my second question was, do you have any reaction to reports that the Trump Foundation was fined by the IRS for making a political donation to Bondi when she had a role at the Trump University?
Yeah, the first question is about the Russians, and do I think they're trying to help Trump? Are they trying to help him? Are they, right? I often quote a great saying that I learned from living in Arkansas a lot of years. If you find a turtle on a fence post, it didn't get there by accident. I think it's quite intriguing that this activity has happened around the time Trump became the nominee. And look, he very early on allied himself with Putin's policies. I mean, to pull out of NATO, for goodness sakes, right? And he furthermore has praised Putin. He seems to have this bizarre attraction to dictators, including Putin. He won't tell us where he owes $650 million. There's a lot of rumors about that. And he has, made it clear that he doesn't particularly care whether Putin and the intelligence services attack American institutions. So, get some water.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks. Excuse me. I'll be right back.
Well, that was Hillary Clinton. Her press conference there aboard her new campaign plane, interrupted by a coughing fit, the second coughing fit that she's had today. This press conference, the first in 275 days, brought to you by virtue of the fact that she does have a new campaign plane on which the embedded reporters who have been covering her for the better part of 2 years now have access to her, and she accommodated that by coming back to their section of the plane and answering some substantive questions. We'll have more of that and more on that with the panel later in this program. Labor Day, of course, is the unofficial start of the presidential campaign season, and so it is fitting that both nominees were hard at work today trying to gain support in a blue-collar state that both campaigns feel is absolutely crucial to victory. Hillary Clinton was in Ohio early today. Correspondent Peter Ducey is with the Trump team in Canfield, Ohio, where he spoke with the Republican candidate.
The big draw at the biggest county fair in Ohio, Donald Trump and Mike Pence.
I think it's incredible. I mean, they've never seen one like this, so it's pretty good.
Walking past classic carnival rides and vendors selling corn dogs and funnel cakes, the businessman and the governor made their way to the Mahoning County GOP booth, where local officials have been working to spread the word to the 260,000 people who have visited this fair so far this week.
Here in Ohio, what is going to be the biggest challenge here in other swing states for you?
No, we're up 3 or 4 points in Ohio. It just came out, so you see the crowds. I love Ohio. We're going to bring jobs back, Peter.
The economy was the big focus here in Canfield and in Cleveland this morning, where Trump blamed problems in the country on President Obama, but problems in this swing state on local leaders.
I think it's just a great place, and it's been abused like every state. It's not like Ohio. It's every state has been abused by incompetent leadership, especially as it comes to jobs.
Immigration is Trump's other signature issue, and he's seeking to clarify his position about what he wants to do with illegal immigrants who are criminals.
I'm not ruling out anything. No, I'm not getting a pathway to legal status. No, to become a citizen, you're going to have to go out and come back in. Through the process, you're going to have to get online. But this isn't touchback. You have to go out and you have to get online, you have to come back in.
The Buckeye State is unique because campaign manager Kellyanne Conway sees Trump getting a lot of support here from Democrats.
We know that there are many crossover voters for Mr. Trump, particularly in the primaries. You saw, I think Pennsylvania was a great example of that, Kevin, where a number of Democratic and independent voters crossed over to support him in the Republican primary.
Another way to reach Democrats and independents, 3 debates with Hillary Clinton. And today, Trump told us how he's getting ready for his first ever one-on-one debate.
I think I'm preparing somewhat like I prepared for the other debates. I think I'm preparing. I enjoyed the debating process. I did well in the debates.
according to the polls.
A sign that Ohio is critical for the Trump team is that the nominee and the running mate were together at all stops all day, which is rare.
Somebody said he's the exact opposite of Trump, and I said that's a good thing. Because we don't need two of me, believe me.
And before leaving the state, Pence gave us his version of the Republicans' closing argument.
The American people know that we can do better than a 1% economy. I think they know that Donald Trump has a vision to get this economy moving again with lower taxes, less regulation, repealing Obamacare, smarter and tougher trade deals. You see this enormous crowd that's coming out because Donald Trump is going to make America great again.
Trump, of course, also talks a lot about building a wall. And here in Canfield, Ohio, his supporters actually built one, but they didn't make Mexico pay for it, instead asking fairgoers to pay $5 for a brick with their name on it, money that'll go to help Republicans in local races in Ohio get elected. Doug?
Peter Ducey in Canfield, Ohio tonight. Thank you, Peter.
This shows the carelessness here and the propensity for being subject to hacking. Quote from the report: Clinton received another phishing email purportedly sent from the personal email account of a state official. The email contained a potentially malicious link. Clinton replied to the email stating, quote, "Is this really from you? I was worried about opening it." Everybody knows that if you have a phishing expedition like this, don't open it. It's unclear whether she opened the link, which is a whole different matter. Full screen number 2. A porn email. In a separate incident, Abedin sent an email to Redacted indicating Clinton was worried someone was hacking into her email, given that she received an email from a known associate containing a link to a website with pornographic material. This is the stuff that you watch out for.
This is Anthony Weiner at work again.
That's not what I meant.
He mislabeled the email address. He's done that before.
Poor Bernie. He looked so upset. You know what? He made a mistake. He shouldn't have made a deal. Sometimes he lost. First of all, it was rigged. And I'm afraid the election's going to be rigged, I have to be honest. Because I think my side was rigged. If I didn't win by massive landslides, I mean, think of what we won in New York and Indiana, California, 78%. That's with other people in the race. But think of it. I hear more and more that the election on November 8th, can you believe we're almost there? This started on June 16th of last year, and I said, wow, let's go do it. Takes guts to do this, believe me.
Where she lied, where she said the FBI director said like everything was just perfect. It wasn't exactly, I mean, she lied. She, pure and simple, she only knows to lie.
I think this is Donald Trump's biggest day, and he will be ignored from henceforth.
And we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
We better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Sorry to laugh.
Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Mr. Trump's allegations of unfair coverage, they started almost immediately after he announced his bid for the White House back in June 2015. And since then, the billionaire businessman has called many in the media, quote, dishonest and part of a rigged system that is working against him and his supporters.
I mean, this guy is just a clown.
I didn't think, not only did I not think he would win, I didn't think he was really running for president. I thought he was trying to drum up some kind of publicity for himself. From the moment Donald Trump got into the presidential race, much of the media mocked or minimized his chances. A loudmouth New York billionaire beating all those senators and governors? Really? New York's Daily News depicted Trump as a clown. The Huffington Post relegated all Trump stories to its entertainment section, and most pundits dismissed him as a summer fling.
Look, he is a clown show, but I think the media's obligation is to listen to what he says, analyze it, and point out that the guy is just an unbelievable world-class windbag.
Anybody want to top that?
I couldn't possibly top that. I don't know what you do with a candidate like Donald Trump.